headsets this time.
Okay.
That was the problem last time. Is it only recorded my audio because I was using headsets.
Yeah.
So that was the only feed the computer was picking up on was my voice. It was not picking up any of your voices. All right, so let's do quick episodes here. Let's do. I think we could do them quick. So let's start with. Do we want to start with When a Monster Calls?
Sure.
Should we do the festival stuff as well, or?
I've got us. How much time do we have, Mike?
An hour. I have to be out within an hour. So.
Okay, so I've got 25 minutes for When a Monster Calls, 25 minutes for Hotel Dogs, and then 10 minutes for Festival.
Yep.
Does that sound like enough time?
That's good.
Good. I've got a timer going so we can keep track of that.
Yeah.
All right. So,
you can start playing the Academy Award music when someone's talking too long.
I'm just like,
I think we should mute each other as well when we're not.
What's that?
I think we should mute each other. Or when we're not talking, we mute. And then when last time we got into it, and then we don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'll start us off, and then Mike, you can do why you picked it and give us a little bit of info. And then let's go so my screen goes Mattias, Mike, me. So then after Mike gives the intro, let's give some idea from Mattias, and then I'll talk a little bit about it, and then we can kind of general, have a go back and forth. If that works for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the Super Movie Buff podcast. We're here to talk about When a Monster Calls. Mike, cue us up.
Yeah, I was the one who picked the movie. It's a wonderful movie, 2016 kind of fantasy film with Sigourney Weaver's in it. Felicity Jones is in it. There's someone also I'd never heard of him called Lewis McDonald is in it. It's a story about a boy. Lewis plays a 12-year-old boy named Connor, whose mother, who's played by Felicity Jones, is dying of cancer, and he's struggling to kind of come to terms with her cancer and kind of understand how to process it. So the monster from A Monster Calls is a sort of nature spirit who takes the form of a local tree, who talks to Connor to help him kind of come to terms with his mom's death. Oh, and the tree is voiced by Liam Neeson, and I think he's a great performance. I really love this film. I think the filming style is amazing. I really love the sound design. I love the way the tree in particular moves and kind of creaks, almost sounds like opening doors and kind of closing doors, like the way that his body moves. And I thought it was really great. I thought the acting was phenomenal. One of my favorites is actually Sigourney Weaver as the grandmother. She is this kind of mean-spirited old lady a little bit. Like she's helping Connor to kind of come to terms with what's happening. But a lot of her scenes are I thought they were very funny. So there's a scene, for example, where Connor, who's really upset all the time because of what's happening with his mother, destroys everything in the house. And as he kind of comes to, he's like, oh my God, my grandmother's going to kill me. And grandma comes in and notices that everything is destroyed. And you're, as an audience member, was sitting there going, oh no, she's going to kill him. And she literally looks and there's one clock that is not been destroyed. And she just tosses it on the floor too. And I just thought that was really, really funny. But what I really like about this film is the way that it deals with the concept of grief and the concept of how do you move forward in a difficult time. I really like the way in which the monster in particular kind of helps Connor to reconcile with everything that's happening. Connor, his mom has gone through cancer treatments before. And as you get to the center of the film, you realize that Connor, the reason he's so angry is he feels very guilty because he feels like, yes, on the one hand, he wants his mom to live, but he's also struggling with the fact that he knows she's not going to live. And so he actually kind of wants it to be over. And there's a part of Connor's brain, because he's only 12, that he's like, his brain is telling him, you can't wish someone that you love to be dead. And what the monster basically sits with him and goes no, it's okay to wish that because life is complicated. It's not that you wish your mom was dead, you wish her pain to be over, and you wished your pain to be over. And the monster keeps saying over and over throughout the film, like, speak your truth, speak your truth, speak your truth. And it's really only as we get to the end of the film that when Connor's finally able to admit the complexity of what he feels, that he can then find a way to move on and find a way to accept with what is happening with his mother. And it's really beautiful, like what happens at the end. Kind of find it hard to describe. But in case anybody's curious, it also was an amazing book. And that is on my shelf. Patrick Ness, amazing writer. So yeah, I really enjoyed the acting. I really enjoyed Liam Neeson's performance here. Like I said, the themes were really particularly moving. J.A. Bayona is the director. He's directed a whole bunch of movies, including The Orphanage, including a movie called The Impossible with Ian McGregor from maybe 10 years ago at this point. He also directed one of the Jurassic Park movies, and he directed a movie, I think 2 years ago, about the soccer team who crashes in the Andes and survives. Like, it was nominated for best foreign film or something. So he has a lot. He really does a lot of human stories here, and this is by far my favorite of his films so far. 5 out of 5 stars for me. I love this film. So I'm curious now what you guys think of it.
So it's my turn, I guess, and I'm gonna chop it down by the knees. No, I'm not gonna do that. I liked it. I thought it was a good movie, and the ending I think is brilliant. But like you talked about, the realization of what he's feeling and why, and that it's not a bad thing. It's okay to feel that way. I think that's beautifully portrayed. I don't know if all of us has lost a parent, but that's the feeling that you have. I didn't have a great relationship with my father, but even when he had that, I wanted it way over. It's not selfish. It's just that you can't move on. Like you said, you can't move on until it happens, and it's better that instead of everybody suffering, just stop it and just let it go. And they do that perfectly in this film. I think it's absolutely brilliant. The rest of it, I think it's fine. The actors are good. I'm not as enamored with Liam Neeson as you are. I think he's a good actor, but I got too distracted by, this is Liam Neeson doing the voice, which is a problem sometimes, that you have a big star in a movie, you can't get past. You can't get past that it's Tom Hanks doing this role. It's not because he's bad; it's just because it's Tom Hanks, and you know who he is, and that sometimes gets in the way of the performance. And I think that's a little bit the case. I think he's very good, and it's not that big of a problem, but that is a problem I had with it. The humor that you saw, I didn't see that. I think it's, for me, that scene with where he crashes the room, it's more tense than funny. I get what you mean with that it's funny because it's a release, and it's but I didn't enjoy it that way. Everything else, I think it's. I wish I liked it more than I do. I think it's a good movie. I enjoyed it, and I cried at the end. And I love the Liam Neeson is the monster, and you have already spoiled it, so I guess I can spoil more. But he's actually the grandfather as well. You see him in some photographs in the end, and I love that there is a connection, because she mentions it in the beginning. Then I think this mother is saying that my father was great, and I wish you could have met him, and so on, but he never could because yeah. So I don't have that much more to say about it unless you have questions. But I thought it was a very good movie at times, and the ending is one of the best movie endings that are not a dark ending, which I think is easier to make a dark ending work than a good ending, because good endings often comes from nowhere, and it's just, as you call it, Hollywoodified. So yeah, I think it's yeah, I liked it, but I didn't love it as you did. Are we giving a grade or don't we do that? If so, I gave it a 7 out of 10. As I said, I loved it. I loved the ending. I liked the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would hop on with you. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 as well. I thought it was very good. My biggest thing with it is that I don't, and the movies do this, but I feel like I would have liked to know more what the relationship was like prior to her illness, so we could see what he was missing out on exactly. Like we know that they're close, but like, what did that closeness like look like? How did they bond beforehand? But as far as like to your point about losing a parent, like I recently lost my father this year to an illness, and that was very relatable. Like that there's like that confliction inside you of like, it's coming and it's going to happen, but you're stuck in this weird limbo state where you can't fully move on from it because it's coming, but it's not happened yet. But you see them in pain and all these like things that they have to go through to try to prolong their life, and it's hard because it's like, well, how much time are they going to get out of it? So you had to go through all this stuff, and like ended up being like a week or two extra of life being tied up on tubes and things like that. And I actually even didn't go to see him in the hospital when he was there because I didn't have a way to get down there to New York. But also just because I was telling my mom, I was like, I have a perfect memory of him already that I don't want to remember him in that way. And so like him being like, like I just wanted to end. Like that was something like as an adult, like it was like waiting for the phone to ring because it was like every single day I was getting an update on the phone. Like he's back in the hospital or he did this happen or then this happened and then finally like that final phone call and then it was like and then it's like you're never done grieving it, depending on your relationship to the person. But it is different once you can finally be like, they're no longer like in pain, you know. I felt like Liam Neeson did a great job, and something neither of you have touched on is I love the way that the movie used storytelling itself as a medium, as a way of understanding situations. Because I think that's something that's powerful about movies is that you can watch a movie and we come to them with all these like preconceived notions. But when a movie can take something and be like, you thought that this was a bad person, but let us show you their backstory or let us show you what they have going on. And then you're like, oh man, like check my prejudice. Like I totally thought this things about him. Because they do that with the Sigourney Weaver character because like we see her as like a tight ass. Like we see her like she's portrayed like, oh, she's this like really rough person and she doesn't care and she's unfeeling and she's like unempathetic and and she's just like, you have to get over it. You have to tell him you're dying. You have to do all these things. But then it's like we start to understand better her side of things. And maybe that she even went through something similar because the grandfather's no longer there. Like he's passed away. And so like the way that the giant uses these stories, like with the prince and the queen and like all these things, and like the little boy's like, well, who is the villain? And he's like, there was not a villain. And he's like, I don't understand. Like he keeps looking for like who's the bad guy in my story? Like is it my dad for not taking me back to the America? Is it my mom for dying of cancer? Is it my grandmother for taking me away from everything that I know? And then the movie's like, no one was the villain. And so sometimes that's life. And even then it's like, oh, well, the tree is the villain. But then the tree is not the villain. Even at the end of the movie, he's decided the tree is the villain. He's like mad at the tree. Like, why didn't you stop this? Why didn't And then he comes to realize like, no, like there just wasn't a villain. Like this just, life just sucks sometimes. And there's no one to blame. And I thought the way that the giant used stories throughout the movie, and then at the end, the giant himself we find out that the giant was part of the stories that were handed down generationally from the grandmother to the mother to now to the son, was just like, it's the power of storytelling. So I think there's a lot of really good things into it. And I also just love, in general, magical realism. Like when you take things like Pan's Labyrinth or Tigers Are Not Afraid, and you take these really, really difficult concepts and you and you buffer them within the lens of fantasy as a way of like this movie without the fantasy elements, right? Like it's almost an unwatchable movie because it would just be a kid crying in his room for like 2 hours, like I'm losing my mom, and then getting like beaten up at school, and then like his grandmother yelling at him. Like that'd be a horrible movie to watch. But when we foil it with this like tree monster that visits him and isn't like the embodiment of his feelings and emotions and works through it. Then it's like, okay, now this is something I can actually like watch and tolerate and like get through and enjoy. Not even enjoy, but like I can stomach watching this movie. You know.
Yeah, that was something that you made me remember now when I was talking about that the whole that he doesn't understand the stories as well, which is also something. The first story about I think the first story is about the prince, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which order it is, but it felt a little abrupt, and that's the point because the monster is not telling him; it's giving him hints about what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you watch the movie again when you have that, because when you look back at it, when I look back at it, I loved how it was structured. It's a great structured movie that it comes in implements. He doesn't get the answer right away. He has to build up to it. He has to understand it. And as such, I think if I watch it again when I know what's coming, I think I'm gonna be able to take it in more. But I felt more like the kid that what point was that story that didn't go anywhere. Yes, you get that there was no bad guy, but it felt a little abrupt, and that's the point. So I think that's also why I didn't really take it in as such, because I didn't get the full story. Now I have the full story. If I go back, I think I'm gonna appreciate much more. So yeah.
Mike, you have any more thoughts after hearing our back and forth?
No, no, other than to say, like, I'm glad, like Matthias was saying, I'd kind of forgotten about the story format. And I did actually like the idea of it's all told sort of through Connor's perspective. So like you do have this feeling as you watch the film of like you're going through everything that Connor's going through. So you have this frustration with the first story. You're like, what is the point of this? And then, you get to the second story and you're still like, I still don't quite understand what the point of these stories are. Like, and it's really not until you get to the end that you kind of go, oh, got it. Got it. It does kind of make sense and wrap up at the end, but it's a funny thing. It's like the character's not, if you're in Connor's shoes, Connor's not supposed to know where it goes yet. And so it's like you have to kind of be patient. And I did kind of like, I admired the craftsmanship that made that possible, that I wasn't kind of ahead of Connor in that way. I was just with him, So I really like this film. You guys went out of 10 stars. I'll give it out of 10, but for me, it's 10 out of 10. I love this film.
So that needs to be an episode of itself, is rating scales.
Yeah.
That's always an interesting thing to talk about. Like, how do you put? Because 10 out of 10 for me is like flawless, stands the test of time. Like, I want to send it up in space for the aliens to see and be like, this is cinema.
Yeah.
So
there is no such thing as a flawless film, I would say. That's another discussion. For me, I'm very hard to give. I don't give out a highest score, 5 out of 5s or 10 out of 10s, unless it's really, really, really brilliant in every way. And I do it maybe once a year with movies. I think I have like 6,000 movies logged, and I have given like 80 10 out of 10s. So it's not even 1% in that case, I think. No, it is 1%. It's just above 1%. Here we show my math skills as well. So yeah.
Give us an example. What is a 5 out of 5 for you then?
My favorite movie ever, which is a 5 out of 5. I think you both know it. It's the Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. I think it's an absolutely brilliant movie. I've seen it like 10 times, and it's a movie you should see twice. But I have to show it to everybody I know because they have to experience it. I have one person left that I have to show it to, and I have to wait for a couple of years before, because I saw it like 3 times in 1 year a couple of years ago. So I want to wait a while now before I show it to him. But yeah, that's my absolute favorite. Other favorite movies are like. I just rewatched Blues Brothers. I love that movie. I just elevated it to 5 out of 5. What do I? I love Dances with Wolves. I love The Sea Inside. I love As It Is in Heaven, which I know that Mike doesn't love as much as me, and that's why I hate him. No.
What's the name of that one?
Yeah, no. So there's everything. Chicken Run is a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
That's the best animated movie I've ever seen. So yeah.
It's funny, like I realized you talked about 1% being 5%, like being 5 stars or 10 stars, whatever it is. For me, it's something about the way that I view films that it might be something that I'm looking for reasons to like every film that I watch. So I have a bunch of films that are 2 stars, but I probably only have 1% of films that are 1 star. That are like that I truly, because in a weird way, a 1-star film means I have to hate it in a specific way. It can't just be boring. It can't just be bad. It has to be like specifically awful.
1 star
Like,
for me is
like
like.
really.
Do you guys have 0 stars as well, or do you say everything bad is 1 star?
I've
Because
got
I
to
have
half
a 0 star as well.
I don't do 0 stars because then I tried in the beginning to do that, and then I got confused between 0 stars and movies I hadn't seen. So it's 1 and above for me.
If I do 1 to a half a star, it's usually because the movie morally bothered me. Like if the film was like Birth of a Nation, like the D.W. Griffith movie, like that'd be like a half a star because of the way it's like racism is good. So like if a movie scores below 2, it's not for like a technical reason usually. It's usually a moral reason. 2 is like Joker 2 got like a 2 stars for me because I'm like I just didn't like this movie, but it wasn't like morally offensive. It just was just like not my thing.
Yeah, no, a half a star or 0 stars for me. That is in my grading. I have 5 pluses, so 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, and then the 0 star is a minus, and that is movies like yeah, I'm gonna think of something like Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie movie. I hate it. Absolutely hate
So
it.
good.
I hate it. I hate it.
So good.
I hate it. Yeah, no, and then so it's movies like that are just bad in every way. It's not fun to watch. 1 star movies can be something that it's a bad action movie, but it's fun. It's boring often, but it's just enjoyable because it's so bad and so on. We watched a movie. Me and my colleague we watched a movie this morning actually. Before we watched the next movie we're going to talk about, which was a Swedish. I'm from Sweden, if you don't know that. A Swedish Western from the 60s, which is, yes, it's so weird that you have to love it. So yeah. No, 5 stars is it's something that I am also like you, Mike. That
Here, you guys keep talking. I'll be right back.
I rather watch. I rather give good grades. I give 3 out of 5 more often than I probably should have.
Yeah.
Because if there is something I like about it, yeah, sure, let's give it better. But 5 stars, it's another level. It doesn't have to. It can't just be enjoyable and fun. It has to be something more, and that rarely happens because. I guess I'm cold-hearted and dead inside.
It's funny, like I can tell you why I gave a film 4 stars, but oftentimes the 5-star rating for me is something that I don't even totally understand myself. Where I go, I have such an emotional experience with it that it kind of defies explanation. It's like people go like, why did you give this 5 stars and this very similar movie 4.5 stars? I go, I don't know. Like it just connected more.
Yeah, and that's my issue with this film. It's not an issue, but I didn't connect with it that way until the end.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we're recording and he's not here, we're gonna talk trash about him, or what are we gonna do?
Well, actually, I'm curious. You brought up a 1-star film that you didn't like, and I'm curious. Like the last 2, the biggest 1-star films in my head that I've seen. One I mentioned to you offline called The Little Death. Such a morally repulsive film. I hated it. I hated every second of the film. But the other film that comes to my mind that and I know a lot of people love it. It's a movie by a Spanish director called Luis Bernal. The movie's called Viverandia. And I also found that I hated it so much. Like, I went, this director, I don't know if I can ever watch another movie of his, because if this is supposed to be the best of his movies, we are not going to get along.
I didn't give the one I mentioned a 1 star. I gave the 0 star. But one movie that I gave a 1 star was from Louis Buñuel, and it's the one that everybody loves. I don't know the actual name, but I think when I mention what it's kind of called, I think everybody who listens will know what it is, and that's the charm of the bourgeois or something like that. It's from the 70s. It's the movie that's it's the best movie of the 70s, everybody say, and I hate it. I watched it in the cinema. I didn't laugh once, and I hated everything about it. And now we're not going to talk about this movie anymore. So